of anybody trying to take advantage of us on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. I'm reading this article. You can too, by the way. You can go to Breitbart. Under the headline, Clinton VP pick, Tim Kaine's Islamist ties. It's right there. The Hill has published Tim Kaine's radical roots. So Tim Kaine, huh? All right. 866-660-5759. 866-660-5759. What's the latest on Hillary's homebrew server? Well, there is some news. The former State Department IT specialist who set up Hillary Clinton's private server, Brian Palliano, decided to ignore a subpoena, a congressional subpoena, to appear today before a House committee hearing. Other tech experts who helped maintain the system spent all day talking about the Fifth Amendment and not testifying, which annoyed Republican lawmakers trying to dig deeper into the former Secretary of State's email setup. You know, if this gets kicked over, if this wasp nest finally gets kicked over, there are going to be so many people in such huge political trouble, they may never recover. All I can tell you is that these people are amazing. They're just playing for time. They're trying to run out the clock. What if they don't win in November? What if the Republicans take over? What's going to happen then? They're not thinking about this stuff. I mean, just exactly how much political damage, how many people are going to get run over and destroyed by the Clinton political machine before it's over? Think about who's been taken out by already. All the generals, and I know I'm talking about as if President Obama was indeed a part of the political machine. Maybe I should rephrase. Maybe it's the leftist progressive political machine. But there is a component having to do purely with the Clintons. Cheryl Mills is up to her neck in this. Huma Abedin, up to her neck in this. Brian Palliano, Jake Sullivan. All these people are buried in this. Elijah Cummings. Elijah Cummings is going to be a guy who has defended these people from beginning to end every step of the way. What if they find out that Trey Gowdy and Jason Chaffetz have been right all along? And before him, Darrell Issa. What are they going to do? What will happen to Josh Earnest? Not that I care. Or Jay Carney Worker. Who was the first one? I can't remember. What's going to happen to all those guys? I bet you they can't get a PIO job in Rosman, North Carolina. I guess I don't have to care, do I? And what about these people and the way they think about America? Brian Palliano, the former State Department IT specialist who set the original server up, doesn't even bother showing up. That's a congressional subpoena. These people don't care. They don't have the barest regard for the government that they want to dominate. House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz said he's now going to consider a full range of options to address IT aide Brian Pagliano's failure to attend. He should be here. It's not optional. His attendance is required here. Pagliano is considered a vital witness in the email case. He spoke previously to the FBI under immunity, telling the Bureau there were no successful security breaches of the server. Not true. Pagliano also refused to answer questions last year before a House panel investigating the deadly 2012 attacks in Benghazi. His lawyer said at the time, Pagliano did not want to relinquish his rights under the U.S. Constitution's Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. What he did not want to do was tie himself up to that mess in Benghazi and that server with a whole bunch of information about Benghazi. He was preparing for a rainy day. Before anybody found out about the server, Brian Pagliano was already positioning himself not to have to worry about what was on it in case the Benghazi thing blew up. That is one smart guy. Republicans said, why does Pagliano avoid this hearing if he had immunity? Well, he had limited immunity. I'm sure that Pagliano would show up if there was no doubt that he had complete immunity in the case. Two other officials from Platte River Networks, that's Platte River Networks, Bill Thornton and Paul Gambetta, did comply with the subpoenas to appear. We now know who those guys are. Remember, their names appeared in redacted versions of the reports from the FBI. So they showed up, and what did they do? They pled the fifth as well. The Denver-based technology company maintained Clinton's server when it was moved from her Chappaqua, New York home to a data center in northern New Jersey. Gambetta took the fifth 6 times. Thornton took the fifth 4 times before witnesses were excused. Elijah Cummings said he knew why they were not addressing questions, went on to say that both of these guys were humiliated in front of the committee. They're not humiliated. That's what the Fifth Amendment is for. There's no humiliation there. On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer and assert my Fifth Amendment constitutional privilege. That is a perfectly good answer in the United States. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Chaffetz voiced frustration when Thornton declined to even answer whether he'd been questioned by the FBI. GOP lawmakers want to question tech officials about the deletion of email records and other alleged attempts to destroy devices. Chaffetz said there will also be consequences for Pagliano's refusal to appear and for thumbing his nose at Congress. He didn't specify what the penalties would be, but he said we're not going to let go of this. A letter from Pagliano's attorney released by the committee says Pagliano will continue to assert his congressional right to not testify. In fact, Pagliano's lawyer said the request was an abuse of process. Well, we'll see. The only witness remaining after the unfruitful initial questioning was Bill Clinton aide Justin Cooper, who answered lawmakers' questions. During that process, he confirmed that he did have access to the Clinton server. And then he admitted that he did not have a security clearance when he had access to the Clinton server. Thousands of classified emails, 22 top secret or better, so highly classified, Jason Chaffetz hasn't seen them. Trey Gowdy hasn't seen them. Nobody's seen these emails because they're too highly classified, and yet they were sitting on a homebrew server put together by Brian Pagliano and maintained by these guys at Platte River Networks, Bill Thornton and Paul Gambetta, that were for all intents and purposes less secure than Gmail. Justin Cooper had no security clearance. Saw that material. This email issue has shadowed Clinton's candidacy. Republicans have been steadfast in focusing on her use of a private server for government business. Several high-profile hearings. Democrats insist the sole purpose of the hearings is to undermine Clinton's bid for the presidency. No, I think she's doing that all really well by herself. Yesterday, the battle between the committee and the FBI was escalated after its decision to not recommend criminal charges against Clinton for her use of the private email system by serving top FBI officials with subpoenas for the full case file. That happened today. Did you hear about that? A powerful Republican lawmaker abruptly stopped a hearing yesterday on Capitol Hill to serve a subpoena demanding the FBI's full investigative file on Hillary Clinton's email probe to a top official, telling the man, "You are hereby served." The dramatic moment came as the House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz expressed frustration the FBI would not guarantee to provide the committee with the full, unedited, unredacted investigative summaries of the federal inquiry into Clinton's homebrewed server and the Democrat presidential nominee's potential mishandling of classified information. Chaffetz told FBI Acting Legislative Affairs Chief Jason Herring, quote, "That's the way a banana republic acts, not the way the United States of America acts. I don't expect him to have an issue with a subpoena to see unclassified information. The FBI can fight it. Analysts say a resolution will come quickly." There are judges sitting in an emergent capacity for applications like this, according to Judge Andrew Napolitano. I wouldn't be surprised if it's resolved by the end of this week. Chaffetz and other Republicans said on the panel the FBI has withheld summaries of interviews with witnesses and unnecessarily blacked out material from documents sent last month. We'll decide what's relevant, not the Department of Justice, not the FBI. Why is that an important statement? I'll tell you why. It's an important statement because the FBI and the DOJ is losing very serious credibility with the American government. And oh, by the way, should be losing a lot of real serious credibility with the American people. This is bad. And it's getting worse. Just exactly how important are the Clintons? How important is Hillary Clinton to this nation? That we can trash the good names of so many people and trash the credibility of the FBI and the Department of Justice just to protect her. What does she have on the United States of America that is so incredibly important? That nobody will touch her, not even the FBI. Somebody needs to answer that question for me. I want to know just exactly what kind of person has that kind of stroke. How did you get to be that important to the United States of America so that the Department of Justice and the FBI, and perhaps one of the best directors of the FBI, one of the most, up until this particular case, by the way, well thought of directors, James Comey, would run away from the case with his tail between his legs? I mean, you'd expect Loretta Lynch to do it insofar as she once had a great reputation as well. You'd expect her to do it because, well, she's got President Obama hanging over her. But has somebody asked that one simple basic question? The entire country, the entire mainstream media, impaling itself on the ridiculousness of this corruption that has led to the mainstream media abandoning the truth and choosing Hillary Clinton. All of this. Is she worth it? And if she's worth it, why is she worth it? That's the redacted paperwork I want to see. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer.
Hi, I'm Gary Sinise. Since 2001, the Air Power Foundation has helped so many in our military, from the children of our fallen heroes to our wounded service members and those in our special operations community. That's why I'd like you to join me Saturday, October 22nd at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport as I co-host the American Airlines Sky Bowl, a wonderful fundraising event in support of the Air Power Foundation, our nation's oldest military nonprofit organization. The evening includes a special dinner